Web Summit Qatar, in association with CNBC-TV18.
Doha, a city that blends heritage with innovation, played host to Web Summit Qatar 2025, a global platform where the brightest minds in technology and business came together. With over 25,000 attendees, 1,500 startups, and 700 investors, it set new records and cemented its place as the MENA region's biggest startup and tech event. The summit opened with Web Summit founder Paddy Cosgrave, who welcomed the global community, highlighting the power of collaboration and limitless potential of innovation.
Qatar is a gateway not just to the Middle East, but to the world. And for the next 3 days, Qatar will be Web Summit's home. More than 25,000 attendees are in Doha this week from more than 120 countries around the world. Web Summit Qatar is also by far the largest international gathering of startups and entrepreneurs the Middle East has ever seen. A record-breaking 1,520 startups from 90 countries are exhibiting over the coming 3 days. Right before our eyes, the world's center of economic, technological, and diplomatic gravity is also shifting. I think after nearly 500 years of Western dominance, we are moving to a multipolar world, and rapidly. In a sense, all 25,000 of us in Qatar this week are here in search of answers about a rapidly changing future. And over the next 3 days, you'll find every imaginable discussion on that future.
I love it here. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. It's really beautiful and peaceful, and you can feel the energy of the future about to happen, and as an artist, that is extremely exciting to me, to be in a place that's bubbling, with anticipation of, creating a future, and I salute all of you here in that energy and in that space of creating not just the tomorrow for Qatar and the Middle East, the future of our planet.
From artificial intelligence to investment trends, and from startup ecosystems to breakthrough technologies, Web Summit Qatar 2025 offered insights that will shape the future of global business. Entrepreneurship, AI, and investment were front and center this year. Leading voices from tech, venture capital, and startups explored how AI is redefining industries, the next wave of disruptive businesses, and the role of investors in shaping the future.
I spent $1 million to buy that first franchise. This was Angel City FC. The team today is worth a little under $300 million. It is the most valuable team in women's professional sports in the world, and it's been 4.5 years. I think 5-6 years from now, we are going to see that milestone. I hope it's Angel City, but regardless, we've seen a secular shift now in the investment in emerging sports, but in particular women's sports. And I've just only gotten more and more confident in the years since in investing even more in different fields to support it. And yes, I am, you saw the husband of Serena Williams. I am a proud girl dad of 2 daughters. But don't get it twisted. None of this is about charity. None of this is about, oh, it feels good. Yes, it does feel good for sure. If my daughters choose to play soccer when they grow up, I want them to get paid and make a living from it. But at the end of the day, it's about good business. And I think that's the opportunity in front of us.
Kind of what we've discussed with the Qatari government, which is how do you use AI to improve government services and government efficiency? And that honestly is probably the top, the key use case or the key issue on many leaders' minds. There's also the question of how AI can provide more economic opportunity for their citizens and for their countries. So how can AI be a mechanism or sort of a a vector for job growth and economic opportunity growth within the countries? That's a very key question, especially in larger countries. AI and national security is a topic. And I think the last one, which gets to what you're saying, is like, what are going to be the global AI standards?
One of the biggest forces that everyone's been hearing about here has been the power of generative AI, and I know we'll talk a lot about it, but you combine that with what's happening in geopolitics, and while we as technologists and as investors in technology are intrinsically always optimistic and believe in the connectivity between people, there's a lot happening across geopolitics which is starting to impact technology.
Technology can evolve its use cases from what the original intention, especially from the original optimistic intention of the entrepreneur. It is humbling to see it. I always push our entrepreneurs today that we back at B Capital to not only think about shareholder returns, but think about the impact that their technology will have on society broadly. Because I think that is aligned ultimately with creating a long-standing, successful company.
Her Excellency, the Vice Chairperson and CEO of Qatar Foundation, spoke on how education will be key to developing the next generation of innovators.
When I look at the foundation, and this is something, a foundation that my mother started 30 years ago now, her idea was to actually learn from best practices around the world and localize it completely to our community. And so we had the best quality education that ensured that our culture and heritage was absolutely preserved. So we didn't have to choose between, quality education or living within our own culture and heritage. And so marrying the two was a formula that she pushed for. And we see that across all the different programmings that we got in the foundation, where we are picking and choosing what is best for us. And in that, we've created something new. But it is essentially parts of something that has existed before. And so it's important for us to really, again, reflect on what is it that we're solving for, what is it that we need, and understand that this is a long journey. This took us 30 years to get to where we are today, and now we're a vibrant ecosystem that continues, to support individuals, not just in the country, but across the region.
I'm in Doha, and the future of innovation is happening right now at the Web Summit Qatar 2025.
Throughout the summit, CNBC-TV18 was at the heart of the action, engaging with global leaders, breaking down the biggest trends.
Qatar is now the epicenter of groundbreaking innovations and transformative ideas, which is setting the stage for collaborations.
And uncovering insights that will shape the next decade of business and technology.
Web Summit for us considered as one of the most important events that we host every year. Because we don't focus here only on tourism. We focus as well on the startup businesses, innovation, technology, AI. For us as Visit Qatar, we participated in the Web Summit in different things. One of them is to improve our product, because for us, we need to catch the technology, because it will help us to collect more data about our target audience, to know what they want, to make their life easy. We develop an AI chatbot. We have a website. We are active in all social media. So this is one part of our participation.
Web Summit Qatar has been a greatest opportunity we have got.
I'm really thrilled to be here.
The Web Summit, I think, is a very unique experience. Qatar is becoming a leading hub for technology.
Web Summit, it's an event, but also it's a community as well.
I loved it. I feel like it's very bustling, hustling.
In Web Summit Qatar, we have got exposure to the Gulf ecosystem, the companies.
From Web Summit Qatar, my takeaway is power of networking.
It's exactly an opportunity for great minds to work on impactful problems in technology.
Our experience has been outstanding so far.
It's been a great experience so far.
The way they have planned the summit is commendable.
Web Summit Qatar. in association with CNBC-TV18. Web Summit Qatar, in association with CNBC-TV18.
Web Summit Qatar wasn't just about technology, it was about the future of industries. Leaders shared their vision on how businesses must evolve to stay ahead in a rapidly changing world. From marketing's digital transformation to the evolving role of consumer trust, the summit explored the forces reshaping industries. Global brands revealed how they are adapting to shifting markets. AI is democratizing innovation, and health tech is breaking new ground.
We have been making serious investments in AI now for most serious investments since mid last year. And where we're testing and trying to break all the large language models as they evolve and as they change every week. And I think as of yesterday, we probably had 6,500 of our employees who have been embedded and allowed to use these tools to see the extent of which we can use them for an application to make the campaigns and the information we're gathering for clients faster, quicker, which allows for better decision-making, faster decision-making, better deployment. When you think about the landscape of where we are today, the velocity and the volume of messaging that you receive and everybody in the audience receives every day takes a lot of care and automation. Now that's evolved and it's only going to get faster, and hopefully the fidelity of the information gets cleared up as we try to break these systems and as we try to utilize them for the benefit of our clients.
I think the browser matters perhaps more than ever in the age of AI. You know, we don't think about the browser very often. It's just a part of the fabric of our daily lives. But if you think about the browser as a product, it has remarkable product market fit. Firefox has been around for 25 years, and we use it every day, almost without thinking about it, because it's a part of the fabric of the internet and of the web. It's the way that we access the world's information. And so I think in the world of AI, people are accessing information differently. I think it's going to feel a little bit different, but we're tackling that in two ways. First, for our browser, for Firefox, we're really looking at how can we integrate AI into your experience to make your workflows easier, to make it easier to find good information, to sort through it. And then second, we're looking at how is AI going to affect the way all of us experience the web? What are going to be those new interfaces? What are going to be those new needs, right? If you're in a world of AI and you've got an agent working for you and it's accessing the web for you, how will you know if it's getting you the right deal? How will you know if it's treating your data in a private way? There's a whole bunch of problems that are emerging in the way that we interact with the web, and we're really excited to partner and solve some of those big challenges.
For over 100 years, Paramount has been able to turn television and movies into cultural currency. From the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Top Gun, MTV to Mean Girls, Paramount has some of the most iconic brands and characters that bring people together all over the world. Paramount knows fandom. We honor it, we build it, we harness it, and we keep growing. With licensing, we take this pop culture relevancy one step further. We have a tremendous consumer products, gaming, and experiences business that allows audience to express their fandom all over the world with everything from toys and t-shirts, resorts, and roller coasters. Specifically, in Paramount's themed entertainment business, we're looking at the ways hotels, restaurants, live stage shows, and theme parks immerse fans in the shows and the movie they love. How are we doing this? By leveraging our popular and enduring IP in ways that fans can interact with.
I think for me, in my own experience, what's been the most inspiring is the first use of AI, which is the ability to go from idea to execution without becoming a subject matter expert. Whether you want to make a song that we were sort of discussing earlier on, you want to make an application, you want to write a unique piece of content, you're no longer limited by your ability to use a tool set. And really what that means is that we've gone from complex user interfaces to something that looks like WhatsApp to control the most complex software on the planet. And that's just so inspiring in itself.
What we're really focused on at Mammoth is how do we move beyond the low-hanging fruits like blood and liver and go after the tissues that really have the diseases we think about when we think about genetic disease, like Alzheimer's, for example, right, in the brain, or muscular dystrophies in the muscle. So that's what we're really excited about at Mammoth is how do we really deliver on this promise of genetic medicine to edit any cell in the body in any way that we want and actually cure these thousands of genetic diseases. What we started with at Mammoth was this idea that there's actually all sorts of CRISPR technologies out there. Because CRISPR comes from microbes, the technology is present in pretty much every bacteria. You could swipe the chair to your side and you'd have a bunch of bacteria that have all sorts of CRISPR systems in them. And what we did is we said, okay, let's build up one of the world's largest databases of what we call metagenomic information. So we basically take samples from the chair, we take samples from a river in Brazil, we take samples from a volcano in Hawaii, just all sorts of diverse ecosystems, just trying to get as much diversity as possible. And then we just kind of sequence everything that's in those samples. And what we can do is we can build up this database of billions and billions of proteins, and then we can mine through that using machine learning and AI, as well as really high throughput robotic systems we have in a whole floor of our building, just with tons of experiments being run night and day. And we can find and characterize new versions of this CRISPR technology that have the right properties for overcoming the challenges, like how do we get out of the blood and the liver and go to brain and muscle.
Experts also examined key economic trends shaping global markets and the growing impact of purpose-driven leadership in today's business landscape.
In the United States, there is an advanced economy. Currently, potential growth is estimated to be only 1.8%. But I do believe that thanks to not just AI, but a wider range of new industries and technologies of the future that are all related to AI, but it's not just Gen AI, it's robotic, automation, quantum computing, biomedical research, green tech, ag tech, fintech, new material science, new energy sources, and so on and so on. All of those are going to be turbocharged by AI, machine learning, and related technology. So in the US, I would say potential growth by the end of this decade could be already more than double, 4%, in a positive scenario 5, something we have not seen for decades. And it's not just going to be the US, because whether you innovate or you adapt the technology, there'll be lots of growth spillovers all over the world. So while the innovators might be US, China, and a few others, including some in this region, the benefits are going to be spilling over, even if the innovators are going to get more of the benefits. That's a good news. The economic pie can grow fast. But if I fast forward to, say, 20 years from now, these technologies are having exponential features. They are general purpose technologies. They're going to increase productivity across the economy. I will not be surprised that 20 years from now, potential growth could be actually something we have never seen before in advanced economies, 8%. That's the good news. The bad news is that 20 years from now, unemployment rate could be as high as 80%. So think about the world in which growth is 8%, the economic pie doubles in a matter of years, but then most jobs are not done by humans, white-collar, blue-collar jobs, but they're done by machines and robots.
When you feel you're at the end of the road, when you feel you've tried everything, when you feel you've done everything possible, I promise you, you haven't. There's still one more thing to do. And for me, that was to create videos on YouTube, which was my last resort. And it's because of that that I'm here today. A few years later, after I launched the videos, I decided to launch the podcast because I had all these amazing relationships. I was working with coaching clients who were athletes, musicians, actors. I had these amazing relationships offline. And I thought, how amazing would it be if people could hear the parts of their story that they would never see on a late night show, that they would never see on a 3-minute clip. These people had so much more depth, so much more soul, so much more history that we didn't know. And we saw them almost as these caricatures or these like one-dimensional people. And I wanted to build a show where someone could have multiple dimensions, because me and you, we all have multiple dimensions. And I wanted to give myself permission and you all permission to be everything you wanted to be and not have to put yourself in a box.
We're at the Web Summit in Qatar.
CNBC-TV18 spoke with industry pioneers to get exclusive insights into the future of business, technology, and innovation.
There's a lot of different places where AI is going to be important. Some are predictable and most are not. So I will say for our business, first of all, we put human creativity still at the center. So we ask ourselves, how can AI help elevate and enable human creativity like never before? We have a few applications that we've launched in our own portfolio. One of our media brands is called Eater, and Eater helps people discover great places to eat and food. There's so much content that our reporters are coming up with every day. We've used AI to make that content more accessible.
There are lots of ways to make chips. We chose a way that focused on the exact problem posed by AI. And the hard part about AI for a computer is the amount of data that needs to be moved. And so we built a very big chip. In fact, we built the biggest chip in the history of the compute industry. And that allows us to move data less often, to keep it on chip, to work on it faster, and to use less power.
I think for us, a lot of it is about figuring out what are ways that AI can make it more easy and simple for us. So I would say at this point, like we still film all of our like stuff in-house. We have our creatives create like the different art direction for it, but it's like maybe we need joke punch-ups or we need something to help us be like, is this funny? Is this not funny? What are different ways that I can write this or talk about this? And I think AI really helps us have that hat on of just thinking differently and not being exactly how Zari would approach it, but how would like a middle-aged woman from like Wisconsin approach this, or so on and so forth. So getting those different personas to bring it to life in our content has been really awesome.
I'm happy, also proud to showcase to the globe there is a successful technology and innovation startups coming from this country, which Sunun in our case. We built our artificial intelligence, we call it Nasr. And Nasr means eagle, but also means star at the same time. It's one of the stars that telling you spring is coming. And basically this Gen AI will teach the business owner how to do the business better. We have also another AI recommendation engine in our marketplace can show you the product you are thinking about based on your personalization and based on your behavior and history within the app. So you see different product, I see different product. What is the result? Business owner income trouble 300% when we start this recommendation engine AI.
Web Summit Qatar 2025 wasn't just an event. It was a launchpad for ideas. With record-breaking participation and game-changing discussions, it set the stage for the future. The conversations sparked here will continue to push boundaries, inspire breakthroughs, and redefine industries in the years to come.
Web Summit Qatar, in association with CNBC-TV18.